listening to Bad Decisions with Jas. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world, you're listening to Season 2, Episode 6 on Bad Decisions with Jas. Woohoo! You know, I listened to my previous episodes and I was like, wow. The quality of these episodes, obviously they're not like perfect or anything, but you know, they're a lot better than what they used to be. So, again, decided to take some notes on my fancy little iPad. And I feel like I'm getting my life together because of it. I create schedules for myself, and though I don't follow them, I do for the most part get everything done on them. And I'm proud of myself because that takes commitment and dedication in two things in which I have rarely ever had. So props to your girl Jas, because that is awesome. If you're new here, welcome to the shit show I call my life. And it is a shit show. I just think this is comedy more than anything. You know, I talk about like my mental health and everything like that, but I laugh about it a lot, which is why I consider it comedy. Yeah, that's me. Don't know how you guys feel about that. But I mean, laughing about your pain is part of today's topic. So that's it. Also wanted to provide a disclaimer for you guys that I'm not bleeping out my swear words anymore. So when you listen to this, you will have already noticed I did not bleep it out, because every time I go back and like listen to it, like while I'm editing, I think I get all of it, and then I go back and listen to it and I'm just like, wait a second, I missed this one and I missed this one. So you know what? I'm just gonna rid myself of that burden, and you guys are just gonna have to deal with my swear words. So just a heads up for anybody who's at work, or if there's kids in the car, or if you don't care if kids listen to swear words, because I know some people don't. I probably won't when I have kids, but whatever. Anyways, yeah. So we have weekly updates to give you, okay? Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you know what I'm talking about, but hubby and I went to Georgia for the weekend. The drive was only 4 hours away, but with the traffic, it very, very much reminded me of Chicago, and that was nice to me. Felt very nostalgic, very home-like, and we were like, what if we just move here? And that's dangerous when we say things like that, because look at us now, living in Florida. Instant regret. Another bad decision with Jas. We love it. But yeah, we went to Georgia. We went to go see a Giants game. Wish we didn't go because they lost. And that was a bad thing, naturally, because we don't like it when they lose. Hubby's a big Giants fan, naturally. Anyways, rambling, going to continue on the story. Prior to going to the game, we went to like the stadium area, and it's beautiful. Like there's things to do everywhere. It's wonderful. Like there's bars and restaurants and little shops, and like when we got there, we had passed by like this bar that was like open to the road, had like a little bar. You know what I'm talking about? You probably don't, but I'm just gonna try and explain it the best way I can. If you've been, then you know what I'm talking about. And they were giving out free drinks, and you know what? They were good. Your girl finished hers, and I like never finish my drinks ever. So then we walk into this place. They have good music. It seems very like popular. There's a lot of people there. And what did we do? We went straight to the bar, and what did we do? We had shots. I have come to the conclusion that if my old ass doesn't start with shots, that's it. The night is done the minute that I got there, because for some reason, shots just get me. They get me. It's just like, I feel like it goes hand in hand with my personality. Like, give it to me straight kind of way. And that already set the tone for the night, because not only did your girl, who is a lightweight, had 1 shot. No. She didn't have 2 shots. She had like 4 shots, I think. I know for sure 3. And then there was 1 more, and I was like, I shouldn't be taking this. And I was right. I shouldn't have taken it. But we take the shot, whatever. By the time we entered the gate to get into the game, because it like started 5 minutes already as we were walking in, I was drunk. Like, I was beyond drunk. And then I finished my drink, because you can't bring drinks into the stadium. So I downed my drink, and then in we went. And that was great. Very great. Very much a bad decision. But hubby is being my freaking... What is he? He's like my motivator. Like, he's pushing me to do this. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna have a great night. We get in, and the first thing I'm saying is, I need food. Like, I remember that much. I remember needing food. And then we finally got pizza, and I didn't even let us get to our seats before I was like, I'm gonna eat this. And if you follow me on Instagram, then again, you know what I'm talking about. I literally try to eat the whole thing in 1 bite. Drunk me thoughts. I don't know why I thought that would be accurate, but I literally took 1 bite in a thing. But I remember that I wanted to eat the whole thing, even though I was sharing it with hubby. So I ended up taking a nap at the game. I fell asleep on hubby's shoulder, and that was the extent that I remember. I was just like, I need to sleep now. And that was it. That was the extent of what I had remembered of the game. We went home. And, well, to the hotel. We went to the hotel, I knocked out, and I didn't wake up till the next morning. Now, the next morning was very intense because I never look for restaurants. I never look for food in a place, but I always want something like authentic to the community. Like, I always want to branch out like that. So I was the one who searched, because I had already gotten up, I was already ready, I already packed everything, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna look, because I don't want this to take more time, and I don't want us to like leave the hotel and not know where we're going. So I found a place, and it's called Breakfast at Barney's. So if you guys ever find yourself in Atlanta, then shout out to them, because the place is dope. And honestly, for those of you who like to see me stream on Twitch, I am gonna attempt to recreate the vibes of that place. It was wonderful. But anyways, fast forward. It was a 2-hour wait for us, guys. 2 hours we were waiting to just sit down in this place, and like, it was packed. And I was just like, you know what? We should just wait it out. Like, I'm already starving, but it's fine, because I'd rather wait it out and really try this place. Obviously, there's a reason why it's such a long wait. So what did we do? We waited, and we like walked around. Like, we walked through like this bridge that were like, there were homeless people or whatever. And we ended up finding this municipal market is what it's called. Basically, if you guys have a municipal market by you, I highly recommend you go. Like, 10 out of 10 would recommend that you go, because it was awesome. It was like fresh meats from like actual farms. It was food from around the world. It was kind of like Oriental market vibes, except it was different farms from around. I don't know if it was like Atlanta or if it was like around the US. So probably just the East Coast, I'm gonna assume. But it was so awesome. Like, we wanted to go back, and like, they have foods, like all kinds of food. There's like restaurants in there and everything. I wish I took a video. It was awesome. And I cannot wait for us to go back so I can get some fresh meats, because it looked better than Whole Foods. I mean, it was a little bit, it was more like a warehouse with a bunch of like pop-ups, basically, like a bunch of kiosks, but in those kiosks it was like fresh, like legitimately fresh. And that's why I like Whole Foods, because everything just looks so fresh. But I'm rambling, I'm sorry. Okay. Anyways, go to a municipal market. That's the gist of the story. But we waited 2 hours for this restaurant, and we finally get in there. We have to sit at the bar. We don't even like actually get a table, which is fine. We said that was okay, because I wanted a Bloody Mary to cure my hangover from the day before. Bloody Marys are legit, okay? Spicy ones are legit. You guys have to try them at least twice in your life. You have to, because you never know if the first one was just like a bad batch, you know? And the food, honestly, from my rating, I want to say that the food was like a solid, I don't know, let's give it a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 10. 3 out of 5, 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Let's go with a 3 out of 10. It wasn't we had lamb, and I make it better at home. But I never want to go to a restaurant where it is better at home than at the restaurant, because these chefs are like professionals. And yeah, anyways, 10 minutes into this, we really got to wrap it up. But I wanted to say that Georgia was fun. Love the culture there. I love that it's not country. I love that it's a city. I love the fact that, on a side note, people blast their music in cars. Like, when I do that here, people look at me like, who is this girl? Yeah, I don't, whatever. Anyways, so today's topic was inspired by no particular reason other than the fire that happened to our stuff. But I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I'm just going to start from the beginning and work my way to the end. So, I did obviously do my research. That's why I have my fancy little cute little notes here that I'm always so proud that I take. But my research was from psychology.com, and the person who wrote this story for us was Dr. Eileen Cohen. So a lot of my topics or points for this topic was derived from her article. But a lot of the points that I also made were just me straight off the dome, you know? That was weird. I don't know why I said that. Just kind of came to happen. Whatever. It's whatever. So yeah, the art of letting go. And I consider this an art. And this is before I did my research and saw that there were other people who also called it the art, but just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. The art of letting go, because letting go takes so much practice, takes so much skill, just like art, you know? Like, I don't know how to paint anything, but I could draw something all day long. And that took me time and practice and skill. Nobody wakes up one day and says, I can recreate this. No, they have to be experts in it, and letting go is no different than every other topic I talk about. It really is like a mental thing. It's your ability to push yourself, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so what is letting go? What is it? Letting go obviously has different definitions, and depending on how you use it is where it might be beneficial to your life. So naturally, letting go is like setting yourself free, or it's I'm gonna read real quick. The term "it is what it is," acceptance for what you cannot control, and it's also letting go of materials. So, you know, with being a hoarder, people tend to hold on to a lot of different things that they don't need anymore, but for some reason there's like some kind of emotional attachment to it that they just can't let go of it. And for me, I'm not a hoarder, but there are things that I just keep because I'm just like, I cannot let go of this because of whatever emotional attachment or whatever memory I have attached to it is why I can't let it go. So the reason I brought this up was because a lot of the stuff in the fire were those things that I couldn't let go of. And it was sad when the fire happened, but at the same time, it was more freeing than anything because it forced me to let go of those material things that I no longer needed and no longer had a purpose in my life. I had this one notebook, and like a side note, like just me being transparent, I had this notebook. It was pink with white spirals. I got it from Five Below when I was like a junior in high school. Don't know how long ago that was, but it had so much meaning to me. I had such an emotional attachment that every time I went through my things, I would be like, I'm not ready to get rid of this. I'm not ready to get rid of this. I mean, even when I left for basic training and my mom was going through my stuff and said, what do you want to keep? Like, what should I put in boxes? I specifically said this pink white spiral notebook. Did not want her to get rid of it because this notebook had so much of like past Jas, like younger Jas, and like who she was, like what my mind did. I used to like listen to music and just scribble random things into this notebook. And I would write a lot. Writing became something that was huge for me, and I would always write in this one notebook. And especially the fact that my best friend and her and I used to write notes to each other and we would pass them to each other in the halls. And that was the book where the writing began. So instead of like taking notes, yeah, I know, I was freaking writing a note to my damn best friend when I could just talk to her in the hallway in between classes. I'm aware of that. She was aware of that. But it was just like our thing. Like, that's just kind of what we did. And this was a notebook that did that for me. And I had like a little slide pocket like right on the front of it. So I could put pictures or I could put notes in there, whatever I wanted to put in there, I could put in there. And I just held on to it, and like, for some reason, I just never could get rid of it. So when the fire had happened and I, knew that one thing in the entire fire that I had such a long emotional attachment to was burned, I was so upset. But I was like, okay, but you know what? It was time for me to let go of that. It was time for me to grow, because I can't keep looking in the past and remembering what that was like without letting go and for me to grow. You know what I mean? And that was like one of the biggest things for me. Obviously there's more like letting go, and I will talk about it in a second, but setting yourself free. So in my last episode, as far as people goes, in my last episode, I had talked about how if it feels wrong to stay with somebody, but it also feels wrong to leave them, chances are you should leave them. Because I promise you, once you walk out the door, you're gonna walk out and you're gonna be like, wow, this is so amazing. I feel so light. I feel so free. I'm free to be who I want. I'm free to do what I want. And when I got out of that manipulating relationship, that was it for me. And I never wanted to go back. So that says a lot. And I promise you that I know it's hard now, and if you're in a relationship like that, but it does get easier, it does get better. You don't ever have to stay in a situation that doesn't feel right. Like, you get to dictate your future by your own actions, and I think Dr. Cohen said a lot of that in her article that I was reading. Now, her article was more pertaining to letting go of people rather than letting go of like something with sentimental value. Like, it could be a t-shirt, it could be a notebook, it could be like a freaking pencil, it could be anything that holds sentimental value, but if it no longer serves any kind of purpose to you, then you should let go. And especially with people, I always talk about my dad, I always talk about, friends and like cousins. Like I've mentioned this before in my episodes, and letting go has been like a big struggle for me. Just like the entirety of it, letting go of things. Maybe it's because I fear like attachment issues. I never want somebody to feel like I like left them, and like those fears in which I cannot control get to me. And it's just like now recently, like I want to say like within the last year, been more about what like tailoring the things around me to like my life. So acceptance, it is what it is, man. No matter what, you cannot control anything. No matter how much you try, no matter how much you think it's gonna go your way. And I'm really big on this because my wedding is coming up soon. Well, our wedding is coming up soon. So I want everything to be perfect. I want everything to go according to plan. I want it to be this way. And do you know how difficult it is to be like, okay, I accept the fact that it is not going to go the way that I want it to go in my mind. It's just not. That's just not how it works. So the sooner that you accept that it is what it is, it is what it will be, no matter what the circumstances might be, I feel like you're setting yourself up for success, because you're like freeing that weight off your shoulder. You can plan as many things in life as you want, but there's always going to be that one thing that you're never going to see coming. And that's just life. Like I wish I could give you better guidance on that, but that really is just life. And you have to let go of what you can't control, but what you can control is your reactions. So oftentimes we find it hard to let go of things that cause us emotional pain, because we think that negativity defines us, but it's quite the opposite, actually. It's our resilience to that negativity that defines us. It's how we reacted to a situation. It has nothing to do with, well, I was in this shitty relationship for this amount of time and it was really bad, but that doesn't define you. It's what you do to get out of it that does define you. And if you don't get out of it, then that's also like, that's your ability, and that's what defines you. It has nothing to do with anybody else or anybody else's baggage that defines you. It is always your actions and what you're capable of and what you can control, which is yourself. You can always control yourself. I read this quote actually, and it was from Jack Kornfield, and it said, "To let go does not mean to get rid of, but to let go means to let be." When you're letting go of something, oftentimes we feel as though if we let go of it, then we are letting go, quite literally, pun intended. When you let go of something, you're not getting rid of it, because no matter what, even if you let go, you're still always going to have those memories in your mind. You're still going to have, what the time was like, especially with, like, I've seen this a lot, like, with myself and with other people, but when you're deleting pictures or deleting someone's number, you're not getting rid of that person. You're just kind of letting go because you've accepted the fact that it is how it was always going to be. Like, this relationship was never going to be any better or any worse depending on what, like, you have done. It is what it is. It was a bad relationship, and that's kind of it. That's all that you can say from it. And I don't want you guys to think that just because you get rid of something, like me talking about, like, letting go, just because I let go of something doesn't mean that I'm, like, trying to get rid of it. No, it's just that I'm accepting the fact that this once upon a time was what it was, and this is where I am today. And because of that, that's why I am where I am today. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. I really tried to research this because I knew what I wanted to talk about. I knew my perspectives. I knew what I wanted to say, but I also wanted to provide some more insight from somebody a little bit who has more expertise than I do, because obviously my life, my situations is not the same as yours, and I wanted to branch out a little bit. Let me know if I'm doing a good job, okay? This particular concept is very difficult for me for multiple reasons, but it has a lot to do with my anxiety. So for those of you with anxiety, as I've mentioned before, your mind runs so many miles per minute and you just can't control it, and there's no way to really, like, calm it down. But a lot of those natural remedies would be to make a list. You make a list of everything that you need to do, so that way when you're looking at the list, you know that you need to tackle this, and then this, and then this, and then you can go on and so forth, And for me, those lists are a big deal. And basically, lists they're not meant to be like rules or anything. They're just kind of like guidelines for my mind. Not just me, but like my mind to stick to. And when I let go of something, it's kind of like me not checking it off a list. It's me not following like a certain guideline, like a certain like moral code, I guess you could say. Like, I overthink. My overthinking thoughts cause me to be very like dependent, I guess. Maybe that makes sense. I don't know. But basically, change is not my friend. And I'm sure people with anxiety would agree in that manner, that change is not our friend. Because with change, you find it really hard to be able to, like, calm your mind. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, lists at that point, when something is changing in your life, lists at that point just kind of don't work for you. They don't calm your overthinking thoughts, which I thought was kind of poetic. Kind of came off. Yeah, I did that. These lists provide structure, and with structure, you need stability, and with stability, you need a routine. So when you let go of something, I feel like that kind of defies all of those things that people with anxiety really need to be sane. To put it quite frankly. And when I let go of something, I feel like it is changing my routine, and that in turn is changing my stability, and that in turn is changing my structure, and that in turn is changing my guidelines, which are my lists. And it's again, I always talk about big topics, so this is me talking about a big topic, try to make it a little bit smaller so that way it's easier to understand. But letting go is a very complex topic because, like I said, it could be more than just people. It could be more than just things. It's a huge topic. Anyways, forgiveness would be probably one of the biggest things of letting go. So if somebody did you wrong and you're letting them go, I had previously talked about this one girl that wasn't very supportive when I was going wedding dress shopping. And I let go of her, and not for selfish reasons, maybe slightly selfish reasons, but just because my peace, my inner peace was being tampered with, and I didn't like that. So essentially I let her go to provide peace for both of us, because obviously our friendship together was an equal thing. It was toxic to both of us. So by eliminating it, I made it easier for both of us to let go of that kind of toxicity, right? And when I did that, I felt very free. I felt like there was one less person's opinions that I needed to care about, you know? And so when I let go, it was really difficult, because this is somebody that I had been friends with for so long. And like I mentioned in previous episodes, friends are that family that you choose. So when they do you wrong, I feel like it hurts more, because you never expect the family that you choose to kind of like betray you like that. And again, I said I did the wrong too, whatever. We're not talking about this episode. In the end, it made me worry about what I think about myself. So you guys should always worry about what you personally think of yourself. And I say that because you have to go to bed and sleep at night. You have to make your own bed and you have to sleep in it. And that's how it works. So when you worry about other people, you're ruining yourself. You're ruining your ability to sleep peacefully at night. But when you worry about yourself, you're accepting the fact that your actions are the only thing that you can control, and nobody else around you can possibly dictate otherwise, if that makes sense. Letting go is genuinely something that I do continue to struggle with, because of, my anxiety, and because of like outside factors, because I need that structure, I need that stability. And when I don't have a routine, I like go crazy. And it's something I struggle with, because I do struggle with like attachment. Like I always put myself in the other person's position before I make like irrational decisions, because I don't want to regret anything, as I had talked about. But I also am a planner. By nature, I am a planner. My mother's a planner. I have always been a planner. I make schedules daily, so that way I know what I need to get done in the day, and I know that I need to stick to it, and I know that I feel worse when I don't get something off that list checked. And I genuinely struggle with like letting go, because I always like hold on to things that remind me of people, or remind me of like a time in my life. That like a lot of this comes from like my clothing, and again, that was also in the fire, so I didn't really have a choice or a say in the matter. But a lot of it is clothing, because I remember I wore this on this day. And the hardest part, I think, was that I no longer own what I wore on my first date with hubby, even though I remember what it was. And it just sucks, because I can never like recreate that day if I ever wanted to. I could never just like walk out of the bathroom and be like, look at what I'm wearing, because he knows too. So I guess that was like really hard to accept, and I guess it still kind of is, because there's like things that I just kept, and things that made me happy, and now it's like they're gone. Like a lot of my makeup were like years old, but I could never, ever, ever bring myself to throw away my makeup, because of, I remember I wore this palette on this day, or I remember I wore this palette on my birthday, or like things like that. And now if you look at my makeup, it's more skincare than makeup. Honestly, makeup is not a big thing for me anymore, but I think it's because I already went through that stage of like buying it. But like I said, the fire kind of forced me to let go of these things that I wasn't ready to let go of. But I guess life said, no, you're ready to let go of this, girl, let it go. So I didn't really have a choice. But the biggest lesson of the fire that I really took from it is that it forced me to say goodbye to things that I really didn't have any value for anymore. So, with people and with your things, if it holds no value, no purpose to your current life, that has definitely changed since high school and since like 4 years ago, it always changes no matter what you do, then you should probably let go of it, because it's not healthy for you to keep something that reminds you of a time that you no longer live in. You know what I mean? And that's something that I just struggle with, like this notebook. It makes me sad, because it had so much of my life in it, and now, but I guess I just need to like move on and accept the fact that this is my life now, and we're doing huge things together, and I'm really proud of hubby and our life together. But I'm rambling, getting off topic. Also, don't know if you hear the thunder. I'm sorry, I cannot control the weather. Can't do that. So I have absolutely made mistakes in letting go, just in the last year alone, honestly. And, I don't want you to feel like that. You have to be so particular in letting go. Sometimes you let go of something and you're like, damn, I probably shouldn't have let go of that. Which brings me to my example. Let's go. This is me being transparent, so don't come for me or I'll be guys, okay? Which I guess you know where I'm going with this. But last year, I am the kind of person who has like a lot of expectations for people. I hold people up to the same expectations that I hold myself up, and that is my wrong right there, because you can never hold somebody to the same expectations that you expect from yourself, because you love yourself more than anybody else ever will. That's just a fact. That's just how it goes, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. In the end, you have you, and that's it. When, before I even understood like letting go, and, before I even understood like doing a podcast and like researching these things, which I really love this podcast because I do get to branch out, and I cannot wait till we have like an alternate person in here, still working on those details, make no promises yet. But I just didn't know any of this stuff, and I guess I thought I was more grown than I was, and I'm not. I'm still not. I'm only 24 years old. I have a lot more growing to do. I just lived in this state of mind that I expect people to act accordingly, right? So I expected hubby to do all of these things, all of these different things. I can't even tell you what off the top of my head, but it was just like, constant communication, and like, you can't expect somebody to communicate healthily who's never even communicated healthily before. Do you know what I mean? And I think I just pushed him so hard so that way I would push myself harder, because we both were in toxic relationships, and I wanted him to be my forever. I knew that's what I wanted the minute I found out he was back on the market. Full transparency. I knew it was him that I wanted, and the more that I got to know him, the more I especially wanted him. And I think it was like a mutual feeling. He wanted me right back. But I made it always a point that we need to be this way, and we need to be this way, and we need to be this way. And yeah, maybe sometimes I'm still like a little bit pushy, but only with good intentions. Always with good intentions. But again, it's those manipulative habits that I've picked up over the years. And I guess you could say I fucked up, because I put a lot of distance in between us when both of us were just kind of like going head-on collision. There was no healthy communication at that point. We were just kind of like going at it because neither one of us knew how to tell each other what we wanted or what we needed, and basically neither one of us knew how to tell me to back off, that I shouldn't be like this. You know what I mean? And that was a really difficult realization for me, because of somebody who is so much a planner. I would say that point in my time, that point in my life, was a really big fuck up, but it was also a really big lesson, because I feel like when we did end up coming back together, when we did end up taking away that space that was between us, and just like trying to be one person, just communicating as if we're best friends again, that's when it really hit us that, okay, we don't need to talk to each other as if we're just partners, because at the end of the day, we're also best friends. And I definitely screwed up by letting him go so far, and by pushing him to be somebody that he's not, to expect him to be somebody in which he was not raised to be. That was a fuck up on my end. So again, transparency, don't come for either of us. We're both just humans at the end of the day. And all of us, even my listeners, you guys are just humans too. And I never want you guys to feel like you're pressured to do something. Let go when you feel like you're ready to do so. And believe me, I know that saying is so damn annoying, because it's like, well, how will I know that I'm ready? You will know you're ready. And when you're ready, you let go, because at the end of the day, letting go is brave. It is a brave thing. And it's not the negative emotions that you feel that will ever define you. It's not you staying in a manipulating relationship or abusive relationship that's going to define you. It's how you got out of it. It's how you let go of it that defines you. And that was a really huge point that Dr. Cohen had made in her article. And that's what I loved about the article, because I saw like 5 different articles and I was just like, none of these are hitting the points that I really want. I think that was like my episode for this week, letting go and the art of it, because it really is art. It takes practice, it takes skill, it takes time. Everything in life takes time. And again, I hate that saying too, because I'm the kind of person that's just like, I want to know it now. Like, let me know it now. And coming to that realization made it really easy that I can't control other people. I can't control other people's actions. And especially with my dad, it was easy because his actions are his own. I cannot control him. I cannot fix him. I'm not going to waste my time doing so. And you should keep that mentality for everybody around you who imposes similar traits to my sperm donor. That was fucked up, but we're going to rock with it. Your inner peace is the most important. How you feel in your heart, in your mind, that is the most important thing that I could take away from letting go. So if letting go provides you that inner peace, then guess what? Let it go, boo-boo. Let it go. Okay, so that concludes my topic because we're already at 37 minutes. Feedback. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill. Give me the feedback. Love the feedback. It helps me make my podcast more enjoyable for other viewers, other people. We love that when it's an enjoyable podcast. We love listening to enjoyable podcasts. If the quality is not good, because I did notice in one of my episodes that the quality was absolute shit, tell me, because I want to make this amazing and fun for you to listen to. I want you guys to be very stimulated. That's what she said. But I want you guys to enjoy this podcast. You know, you're listening to 40 minutes of it. You might as well freaking like it. You know what I mean? Yes, rambling. Anyways, follow me on Instagram. Come on, guys. I have been very active this last week. Very proud of myself. Give me a little pat on the back. And I'm very proud because I am not usually this active. And I don't know why. I guess I just kind of like fell out of being like on social media. Maybe it was just because like so many people were just DMing me and I just didn't want to deal with it. So I just shut down and I like let go of it. I guess it was just like a social media cleanse. But now I'm back and I'm ready to rumble because football season is starting soon. I felt like that was accurate. Just kidding. Gonna continue. Anyways, follow me on Twitch at Bad Decisions with Jazz, of course, because I'm there twice a week. Just kidding. I'm there twice a week. That's what I meant to say. And like I said, want to recreate this restaurant. I think it'll be really fun. Doubt that it's going to take me one session of 3 hours. I definitely know it's going to take me a lot longer with my perfectionist of an ass. So, without further ado, this concludes our episode on the art of letting go. But you know what? I'm going to let you guys go. Just kidding. That was like a pun. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for following me, for keeping up with my everyday life. Okay, my every week life. I'm sorry. I should correct myself. Thank you guys for downloading. You guys are awesome. And I will see you in next week's episode. Okay, love you so much. Be safe, be happy, be loved. XOXO Jas.